Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to the series of Head of Product Knowledge Share. Today, we'll be talking about emerging trends in FinTech and how better hiring practices must be brought in to build a strong team. And to do that, we have a very exciting person with us. I have Sourabh Gupta, VP of Product, leading entire product and design team at Flip.id, the fastest and the largest peer-to-peer payment company of Indonesia. Sourabh has been a leader in product management and management consulting and has solved several users' problem in last 14 years. He has built 0 to 1 product solution right from inception, strategy, and has taken it to a scale. Excited to have an insightful and fun conversation with Sourabh today. Thank you, Sourabh, for joining me.
Thanks, Ankita, for the lovely introduction. Happy to be a part of this program.
Absolutely. Sourabh, let's get into the questions, like a lot is happening in the world of FinTech and payments. So many players go anywhere in the world. It's changing dynamically. What do you think the payment industry will look like in next 2 to 3 years?
Okay. So I think at a high level, if I look at 2025, I think there are going to be some of the key themes in payments which are going to play. I think obviously digital payments is going to continue to grow. You have more and more people coming towards and adopting digital payments. So we'll be moving towards a cashless society. But I think central banks are going to play a very key role there by building a faster payment network, right? I mean, the success of UPI is now talk of every country, right? And every country is trying to replicate this. Even here in Indonesia, right? I mean, they're building BI Fast, right, as a faster payment network. So I think coupled by the activities taken by the central bank, I think digital payments are definitely going to scale. And the other trend that I see in the next 2 3 years, I mean, digital currencies, I mean, cryptos, we all are talking about it. But I'm more bullish on central banks doing that, the CBDCs. That's where I think the real change will happen. And generally the banks, everyone is everyone's resistant to change, but yes, once they see that this is inevitable, they kind of adopt it, and then they take charge. So that's the other thing which I think would be happening, and that would be interesting. Already there are a lot of banks researching about it, a lot of countries doing that, right? So that I think is going to be another trend. Of course, I think digital wallets, decentralized finance, cross-border payments, those are the other areas as well. The world is definitely getting smaller, so e-commerce is going to go beyond borders. So I think those at a very high level, right, what I think are some of the trends which are going to happen. But when I look at the industry as such, right, and to answer your question in terms of what's going to happen in this industry, right? So I'm of the view that if you look at other innovations which happened, right? I mean, some time back there was ride hailing, then food delivery, like now it's fintech, right? And if you go by the general trend, right, I mean, I won't be surprised if you start seeing consolidation happening in the next 2 to 3 years, right? And yeah, and if you look carefully, it's already started to happening, right? Where now earlier you had the kind of products, right, focus on a particular thing, right? But now everyone is vying for that maximum share of spend, even from an investor's point of view. That's how they're looking at it. They're like, if you have millions of users coming to your platform to do a particular thing, why not do others as well, right? So that differentiation element is reducing, right? Let's say a company which started off with just doing credit card bill payments, and excelling at that. Now that will also want to do utility payments, right? And that's where everyone trying to get the max majority of users' wallet. I think that larger ecosystems play, or everyone moving towards a super app and consolidating. That's where I see it happening, and it would be interesting to see who all can sustain. There could be some mergers happening, I don't know, but I definitely see that is the direction the industry is moving towards.
And just to highlight what you were articulating, too many players, there's a lot of consolidation possibilities going to happen, and the competition also, like the cutting edge competition, is also going to happen between all these small players, and then you have these big players, right, who are giant, who have been in the economy. I know you mentioned banks also, but there are like cross-border payments, like Wise has been playing a great role, and we have Western Union, and there are several new players also coming in picture. How do you see this competition playing between like the old economy and the new economy gigs? What is your thought on that?
Got it. I don't necessarily necessarily look at it as a competition, right? And let's say when you talk about old economy and old companies, right? I look at it more like a evolution, right? Like companies in this context, when you talk about, let's say, old fintech, right? They need to either evolve or be obsolete, right? That's very clear. I mean, and that's what we are seeing with banking as well, right? Because I mean, that's all like 10-15 years back, that's all we knew about, right? We had our banks where we used to bank, and whatever they used to offer, we used to kind of take that at the face value, right? But banks understood the value, and banks took a mobile first approach as well, right? So it's more about evolution. Like I don't even remember last time I visited a bank branch, right? So that evolution is already kind of happening. And I think what the new age companies of fintech have been able to do is to, give you options. Like if I take an example, right? I mean, again, 15-20 years back, if you had to order something, you probably had few menus lying on your coffee table. You pick up something, call someone up, right? But now you have thousands and thousands of restaurants to order from, right? Similarly, new age companies like fintech, right? What they have done is now you have companies focused on, you can get, do P2P payments, investments, money management, loans, bill payments, you name it, right? It's all in your fingertips. So that accessibility is what I think they have done. And if I look at the older place, I think they are either evolving or they are collaborating as well. I mean, when it comes to banks, like I look at India, right? And there's so many different banks there, especially let's say the tier two kind of a banks, right? Who
Yeah.
don't have a larger user base. They are collaborating with a lot of fintech companies there, where the new age companies, they act as a front end, whereas banks, because you have regulation and compliance, all that to be taken care of, they act as the back end. So I think from my perspective, it's not necessarily a competition. Either they're evolving or they are collaborating. The most interesting play, obviously, I think is going to be on digibanks, and because I mean, besides New Bank and couple of others, I really haven't seen digibanks, taking that edge, be it in the markets that I follow in Southeast Asia. There are few players, but the majority of users still are with the traditional banks. And so it will be interesting to see if digibanks, right, they can actually, capture that market. So far, I haven't seen that. So that is, I think, the last front where it would be exciting to see, what the competition lies ahead.
Great. So see, like as the competition is increasing and all these transformations are going, I'm pretty sure that there has been a lot of pressure also on Flip, scale fast. And yeah, I read somewhere like Flip is also targeting to scale to Singapore and other countries outside Indonesia. So I know like you have been building your product team, and then what is your vision for your product team? How are you thinking of managing this competition? What is the key strategies that you are thinking of?
Sure. So, if I talk about the vision, right, I mean, for the team, I think over a long term, right, I mean, the idea is to set them up for success, right, by having very clear product charters and vision for the future for each of the product group. Because what I've seen is a lot of times that clarity is missing.
Yeah.
Companies, they just go aggressive with the hiring, right, but they don't have clarity, right? So that is where we have consciously taken a call of being very clear. Okay, these are the areas where we want to hire for, and we are doing a role specific hiring as well, right? So an ideal state for my team by the end of this year would be, where most of the different product teams that we have, uh, they are kind of independent and self-driven, right? Because that's the way, right? I mean, you can't always have monitoring for your team, right? So that's what we are aiming for, that each team is independent, self-driven, requiring like minimal supervision. And most of them are like intrinsically motivated, right? I mean, that's what is needed. They're intrinsically motivated and can function independently based on the goals that have been given to them. So that's the kind of vision that we have. And I know that's kind of an ideal state, right? But that's what we are hoping for, that we are able to do by the end of this year.
What is the North Star of your team, or the North Star for the product at Flip?
Sure. So, I mean, obviously, being a growth stage company, right? I mean, right now, our North Star is on, expanding our use case to more users, right? So that's MTU. But even though, well, there is a North Star, right? To achieve that North Star, you need to have different functions to support it, right? So there could be, so we have made a very clear distinction in terms of, service teams and platform teams, right? So service teams are focused on a particular use case, on a particular business, whereas there are platform teams which are building platforms which can help these teams scale and building that common use cases for the team to scale as well. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, overall North Star is obviously growth users, but each of the teams have their own goals because they will indirectly support this North Star.
Gotcha. So how many people you are planning to hire this year, and any pitch that you would like to say to the audience, like why people should work for, Flip, and why people should join your team?
So we have a few roles spread across, senior and lead product managers that we are hiring for this year. And I mean, in terms of pitch, right? I think one of the things which I hear from a lot of PMs that I talk to, and I'm like probably would have spoken to like, I don't know, 50, 60 people in the last 6 months or so, right? Is everyone comes up with one common thing, right? They all are saying that, we want to work in a product-driven environment. They don't want to be told, right, what to do or work in a top-down model. And you'll be surprised, Sangeeta, like, I mean, I've spoken to people from like known unicorns, businesses, right? And the culture is very different, right?
Right.
So people want to leave, you'll be saying, why do you want to leave this company? They're like, internally it's like that, right? So that is one of the things that at Flip, right, we greatly value people who are independent, people who after being given a clear direction, a goal, and resources to achieve it, right, can carve out their own path. We are not prescriptive as an organization, and we value and inculcate, what we call as car values. That is basically we want people to be committed, accountable, and responsible. So I mean, if those are the values, right, that a product manager is seeking for, I mean, yeah, Flip is the place to be. And even as a business, right, I mean, we are on a mission to democratize payments. We want to be synonymous with moving money. And that's why even after being the largest player, we are not stopping there, right? We want to move ahead as well. So if someone is passionate about payments or fintech in general and wants to be part of the fastest growing payments company, yeah, I mean, come join the rocket ship.
Yeah, one question that I keep hearing about, like, hey, I like the company, I understand the pay structure, but I'm a little confused on the roles and responsibilities. So if you have to say, like, in simplified way, what is the roles and responsibilities of a product manager or a senior product manager that working for you at Flip? What would that be?
So as I mentioned, right, Sangeeta, we go by role-based hiring. So like for each role, there will be a scope, right? So like someone is, so we are not hiring in general. So we are hiring for a scope. So even when we look at different profiles, we look at if someone has experience in a particular thing, because someone working in a, let's say, B2B vertical might have a different experience, skill set, and, goals as compared to, let's say, someone working on a platform product or a consumer focused product, right? In terms of so that's how we firstly hire, and in terms of what are the expectations, we have defined certain competencies, right? That as a product manager, these are the competencies you need to have, right? And these competencies vary at different level as well, right? I mean, if you're a senior PM, it might vary. If you're a lead PM, it might vary, right? And these competencies are like pretty general, right? I mean, most being a PM, right, when you are a generalist, you touch upon these things, right? It could be around your skill set around design, data, be it research, having business acumen, being having an idea around tech, data, and so on and so forth, right? So it is expected that each product manager performs whatever their scope is, right, while demonstrating those capabilities, because it's just not about achieving a goal, right? Let's say if you have a key result OKR, right, it's not just about achieving, it's about how you achieve it as well. Did you collaborate effectively, right? Or did you communicate it effectively, right? So that's how we have set expectations. We have defined how, as a product managers, we are going to work at Flip, and that's what is kind of expected from different people as well.
Great. Thank you, Sourabh, for sharing your knowledge and sharing all your thoughts on different aspects in terms of fintech and then how Flip is hiring. I think a lot of people who are going to listen to this will be very excited to know, like, hey, this is what Flip is doing and to join your team. So the part of it, people, audience, if you are listening to it, Flip is a great company to work for. And if you have any questions, Sourabh, as he said, is hiring a lot of people and increasing his product team. Thank you, Sourabh, so much. And hopefully we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Sangeeta.